Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Bridget.
And I'm Carla with Hardwood Lumber and Millwork, and today we're talking about spalted hardwoods.
Interesting. Well, fun fact, spalting or spalted woods is any coloration in the wood that is caused by a fungus. Typically that is found in a dead tree, but it can also sustain itself in a living tree. However, that'll be the demise of the tree ultimately.
It will be. There are actually three types of spalting that occurs from fungus. The first one being pigmentation, which is extracellular coloration, which is a fancy word for staining. And this is where we get blue pine from. So the pine mountain beetle actually burrows into the pine tree and it brings the fungus in with it. Ultimately, that beetle is going to kill the tree. So in order to harvest anything usable from the tree, they'll go ahead and they'll cut the tree down, put it through the processing, and we actually come out with wood that has this gorgeous stained blue color to it. So we get to actually enjoy the uniqueness and the coloration of the wood before the beetle actually destroys the lumber. So that's one type of spalting.
Oh, well, we have another type, which is white rot. So white rot actually bleaches the wood, and it causes something called punking or punkiness, which is where you get sort of a spongy, stringy feel of the wood, which pretty much doesn't give you any good material to work with, unless you can catch that white rot sort of at the jump, and then the wood is still usable and workable, and it can cause or create some really beautiful looking material.
You still get that bleaching technique happening in it, but it's still usable. It's still solid, good hardwood.
But you got to get it at the beginning.
Yeah. So the other thing, and the one you're probably most familiar with, the third version, is zone lines, and this is when competing funguses actually are in fungi.
They're interchangeable.
Okay, all right. Competing fungi attack the wood, and they are actually create these territorial lines, and this is called zone lines. And this is probably the spalting you're most familiar with. This is tamarind. This is an African fruit tree, and it spalts very well. It's very common to see spalting in it. But you can see the hard dark lines. They'll be black. They'll be dark red. This is actually zone line spalting. They're creating these territorial lines. So it's pretty cool stuff.
It's beautiful. Now, it's important to discern between fungi or fungus and mold, which is not a safe thing to be working around. However, fungus isn't necessarily dangerous. So please know that when you are working with spalted woods, it is not any more dangerous than just working with the wood itself. So using your N95 mask while you're working with this, just to prevent the inhalation of dust, that's a really great suggestion, but you don't have to worry about inhaling any like mold spores or anything like that. Not to mention the fungus that's in the wood has also seen the kiln drying process that your wood has as well. So it's definitely not a dangerous thing to work
it's dried out at that point.
Absolutely.
So when you look at woods where you find spalting, it's actually, a lot of publications will tell you like maple, beech, birch, you'll commonly see spalting in those. But the thing is any wood can spalt. It has the potential to take in that fungus and cause rotting. I've seen it in the shop. I've seen it come in hickory. I've seen spalting in hickory, red oak, sycamore. Actually, this hickory table that we're standing at right now has some amazing spalting, and down there on the edge too. So it really, you can see spalting just come in anything. Now, it is important to differentiate the difference between spalting and mineral stains. When you're looking at like rainbow poplar, those reds and blacks and greens that are so dramatic in rainbow poplar, or you see green streaks in hard maple or basswood, those are actually mineral stains where they're in the ground and the tree absorbs the minerals up into it, and the stain comes in and it will stain the sapwood of the tree. So that just a important delineation between what actually is spalting and what is mineral staining.
Interesting. That's cool. Now, if you do have a piece of material that does not have any spalting and you decide at home, hey, I'd really like some spalted wood, there is a way to do your own spalting. which consists of so much science that, you know, my brain can't even grasp that concept.
I know.
It's,
So what's
you know,
in it?
It's like moisture and oxygen and the species of fungus that you need to use.
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
And then you have to, you know, be patient and wait. You could wait up to 12 weeks for spalting and keeping your fingers and your toes crossed that it all comes out just right. And there's not necessarily a guarantee because, again, you're dealing with fungus and science. But
And,
if you're going to do
it's
it at
nature,
home, if
so,
you're going to
yeah.
do it at home, send us your pictures. We want to see some mad science.
I would love to see that. Send us your pictures. That would be awesome. So when you talk about workability with woods that have spalting in them, it's not really any different than working with the wood itself, whether you're working with hickory, whether you're working with the tamarine. The spalting, unless it's deteriorated the wood where, you know, it's gotten punky or anything like that, typically there's no difference in the texture of the wood. It's going to machine the same, so it's going to finish nicely. When you're dealing with a spalted piece, often you want to stay light in color so that you can see that zone lines continue to stand out. But basically, working with it is no different than working with standard wood.
Cool, that's awesome. The nice thing about that, again, also as well as using those different species means that the uses for them are going to be multiple and various. So, you know, we're looking at, you know, small ornate pieces like pens or knife handles, anywhere up to larger pieces like you could even potentially do a table. In a beautiful spalted wood. I've seen cheese boards made out of it. So again, those different species of wood that have all of that spalting are going to give you different options, but definitely we're seeing it in very ornate, beautiful pieces.
That's very, very true. So I hope that if you get the chance to work with spalted woods, that you take advantage of that, and at least now you know you have an idea of what you're looking at when you're in the wood shop and you know run across that type of grain and figure in the wood. So.
Well, again, we look forward to seeing you guys again. We are glad you joined us. Thank you so much. And remember, whatever you build, keep it sustainable.
Bye.
Bye.